Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for Lupang Hinirang, the Philippine National Anthem. You may now take your seat. Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Cultural Center of the Philippines. We are pleased to host the Philippine premiere of On the Job, The Missing Eight, and homage to world-class Filipino excellence in acting. To start our celebration, please welcome the Chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, Ms. Maria Margarita Moran Floirendo.
As the chairperson of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, it feels great to welcome everyone here and see the Tanghalan Nicanor Abelardo filled with audiences. It has been a complicated run-up to finally open our doors amidst the rising COVID cases and changing alert level system. But we have somehow managed to premiere today's featured film. This is the third installment of Wagi, a series of film screenings that celebrates Filipino excellence and world-class talents. And this is definitely not going to be the last because we all know that filmmakers will continue to produce quality films that put the Philippine cinema in the world map. I know you have been eager to see On the Job, The Missing Eight, a crime thriller film directed by award-winning filmmaker Erik Matti. The film that gave actor John Arcilla a Volpi Cup from the oldest film festival in the world, the Venice Film Festival, for his incredible acting as a journalist investigating the disappearance of his colleagues. As we watch together and open ourselves to this cinematic conversation, we celebrate Philippine cinema and how it shapes our human perceptions, handles our social expectations and disappointments, and finds success in the pursuit of truth and justice. I won't keep you waiting. Again, welcome to the CCP, and I wish you an eye-opening cinematic experience. Thank you.
Let us now hear from the President of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, Mr. Arsenio J. Lizaso.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my pleasure to join you for Wagi, celebration of Filipino excellence, as it showcases its third installment, featuring the Philippine premiere of the film On the Job, The Missing Eight, by one of the country's noted directors, Erik Matti. We take pride in this endeavor, for the film is not only helmed by a multi-awarded director, but more importantly, it affirmed what world-class acting talent can show, thanks to the passion and dedication of actor John Arcilla, who won the prestigious Volpi Cup for Best Actor at the 78th Venice International Film Festival, where the film entered the main competition for the Golden Lion as well. Even prouder that this film has joined the ranks of other films under HBO Asia Original. In closing, we would like to thank all the people for their support, time, and energy, without whom this project would not be possible. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang pelikulang Pilipino.
We have with us here tonight the chairman of the Asian Cultural Council Philippines Foundation Incorporated, Mr. Ernest Escalera.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to first thank our sponsors who have graciously given us tonight's event for the benefit of the Asian Cultural Council. I would like to thank, first of all, the CCP, Mr. Dondon Monteverde of Reality Films, BDO, and the co-producer of the film, Globe. Thank you very much for supporting the Asian Cultural Council. Just a little bit about the Asian Cultural Council. We are celebrating 60 years this year. 60 years ago, John D. Rockefeller III traveled Asia and fell in love with Asia and established a number of foundations that was supposed to bring Asia close to the Americas. He established the Asia Society, the Ramon Magsaysay Foundation, the Japan Society, but I know close to his heart, he established the Asian Cultural Council. The Asian Cultural Council does nothing but encourage cultural exchange between the Philippines, Asian countries, and the United States. As a result of 60 years of endeavor, the Asian Cultural Council has given over 300 grants to various Filipino artists. Allow me to say that the screenwriter of this film that you're about to see was also an ACC grantee, Michiko Yamamoto. Aside from the 300 grantees, some of them have come to be national artists of the Philippines, of which there are 7 of them. We would urge you all to continue to help us in our endeavor to bring Filipino artists greater exposure in the world, because as John D. Rockefeller felt, Asia has a treasure of artists to share with the world. Thank you.
Our next guest is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Globe, Mr. Ernest Koo.
Good evening to the guests and viewers of the CCP's Wagi series featuring OTJ, The Missing 8. Thank you to all the officers of the Cultural Center of the Philippines and the Asian Cultural Council Philippines Foundation, Ms. Maria Margarita Moran Florendo, Mr. Arsenio Lizaso, Mr. Chris Villado, and Mr. Ernest Escalera for hosting this event and putting the spotlight on Filipino work, celebrating its success on the global stage. I would also like to thank the Italian Ambassador, the Honorable Marco Clemente, for gracing this event. Great to see you again, sir. Globe continues its commitment to strongly support Filipino talents. Globe Studios, now known as Anima, has been a strong ally of Filipino film creators, producing films that have been acclaimed both locally and internationally. We are very proud to have brought the likes of Birdshot, Goyo ang Batang General, Hintayan ng Langit, Dead Kids, Fangirl, and Gaya ng Pelikula or Gaya sa Pelikula to our cinemas and screens. Just recently, Love DSS, ang Pagbabalik ng Quago, also an Anima production, made it to the Sundance Film Festival the first Filipino feature film to premiere in Sundance in over 15 years. Leonor Will Never Die also made a brilliant performance at Sundance, with its director, Martica Ramirez Escobar, winning the Innovative Spirit Award at the World Cinema Dramatic section. She was the first Filipino feature film director to win at the festival. We are also extending our support to the Asian Cultural Council Philippines Foundation. We hope that this further advances your vision of a transformative cultural exchange between Asia and other regions, and in turn, bring in more attention to the work of the Filipinos. We've always believed that Filipinos have the vision and the talent to bring highly competitive films to a global audience. The tremendous display of Filipino films in some of the most challenging film festivals in the world not only proves this, but encourages us to bring more local ideas to life. OTJ, The Missing Eight, is another brilliant example of how ready Filipinos are for the bigger audience. Thanks to the great minds and talent of director Erik Matti and our partners, Dondon Monteverde and Reality Entertainment, and the cast and crew of OTJ, we have another Venice International Film Festival win in our hands. I would like to personally congratulate Erik and our very own Team Globe of Good Ambassador John Arcilla for bringing immense pride to Filipinos all over the world. Our commitment to the Filipino film industry goes beyond producing top-notch films, as we also encourage our customers to fight against piracy and consume content only from legitimate sources. The work of our filmmakers, the amount of time and effort they put into creating these masterpieces deserve our respect. We have seen how piracy stumps out the growth of an industry, even seeing films being pulled out from cinemas too early due to piracy. We all have to remember that piracy is a crime. It affects our filmmakers and the livelihood of the cast and crew. It also affects us, as it exposes us to the risks of malware and identity theft. Let us all be responsible advocates of our film industry and consume content only from legitimate sources. Particularly now that the cinemas are opening up again, we have a lot of options to watch films that are legal and would contribute greatly to the Filipino film industry. On behalf of Globe and Anima, I would like to again congratulate the team behind OTJ, The Missing Eight. The pride you have brought to the country will encourage many more to maximize their talents and bring quality content to the Filipinos and beyond. To those in the Filipino film industry, may you always be inspired to create good work. There are many institutions that value your work and are willing to support your vision and talent. Please enjoy the rest of the program and the exclusive screening of OTJ, The Missing Eight. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Ay, magandang morning po sa inyo, mga kapanalig.
Sinungaling ka ba?
Ako?
Ano man iniisip mo, huwag mo nang gawin.
Hintay ka na lang. Lalabas din ang totoo.
Ano nga yung totoo?
Iniisip ko din eh. Kung worth it ba lahat to?
May we call on stage CCP Vice President and Artistic Director, Mr. Chris Miliado, and Director Erik Matti of On the Job, The Missing Eight, for the presentation of the certificate. The certificate reads, for ingeniously directing a compelling film which captured the struggle of the provincial journalists, prisoners, and ordinary Filipinos, alike who are trapped in the web of political machinations of a corrupt system, and for the Philippine premiere of On the Job, The Missing Eight, the Cultural Center of the Philippines presents this certificate of appreciation to Erik Matti, filmmaker, given this 18th day of February 2022 at the Tanghalang Nicanor Abelardo at the Cultural Center of the Philippines, CCP Complex, Ross Boulevard, Pasay City. Signed, Mr. Arsenio J. Lizaso, CCP President, and Mr. Chris B. Miliado, CCP Vice President, Artistic Director.
Okay, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I'm really excited to present the film to everyone. It's the first time we're screening it in the Philippines. It's been so many months that we've traveled outside of this country, screening it in Italy, in France, in Germany. We screened it the last time in Korea and in the America. And it's just proper that Filipinos who should be the ones watching this film should enjoy it now. And I really want to share it with everyone. And I'm happy that the cast and crew are here, because I think after all these months, they only saw it on a small screen in HBO Go, but there's nothing like seeing it really on the big screen. And I really hope that I did justice to all the hard work that you guys put in over the years that we were making it. And I saw a lot of ambassadors at the beginning in the screening, and I hope that we share a piece of the Philippines to all of you, the good side, the crazy side, the unlikable side of the country, and hopefully you'll begin to understand most of us and what's happening to us. I'd like to just say in parting that it took a really difficult time for us to get this off the ground. This is the second installment of On the Job. The first one took so many years, bouncing from one producer to the next, and nobody wanted to be part of it. This one also had a really, really tough time getting produced, and me and my partner, Dondon Monteverde, just stuck with the idea of making this film. This is not a small film to make. It's quite expensive, and we're happy that Globe co-produced this with us. And I think a lot of filmmakers are here right now. I think On the Job 2 would signal a new wave of Filipino creativity coming out of the Philippines. Not just for films, but mostly for the streamers that's going to be coming in the next few months. And I think there's a lot of them. There's Netflix, there's HBO, there's Disney, there's Amazon. And I'm happy that Filipino filmmakers could start enjoying making quality content and international quality content of that. Thank you, CCP, for making this happen. It's always great to do a screening in a place like this. It makes your film feel more important. ACC, Mr. E, Ernest Escaler, thank you very much. Ernest has been with us in the journey since the first On the Job. He walked with us in the premiere in Director's Fortnight in Cannes, and again in Venice he was with us. So thank you very much for sponsoring this. Joe Caliro, thank you for being here of Globe. Thank you for making it. Everyone, enjoy the film, and I hope you guys enjoy is not a really good word. Have fun with the film, maybe. I don't know. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we call on stage the best actor of the 78th Venice International Film Festival, Mr. John Arcilla, to receive the complete volume of the Encyclopedia of Philippine Art and a certificate of recognition from the Cultural Center of the Philippines. It reads, for his historic and unprecedented winning of the Volpi Cup as Best Actor in the 78th Venice International Film Festival as Sisoy Salas in director Erik Matti's On the Job, The Missing Eight, and for bringing honor, glory, and pride to the Filipino people and the Philippines. Given this 18th day of February 2022 at the Tanghalang Nicanor Abelardo Cultural Center of the Philippines, CCP Complex, Ross Boulevard, Pasay City. Signed, Arsenio J. Lizaso, President, Chris B. Miliado, Vice President and Artistic Director. At this point, we would like to call on stage Ms. Monday Gonzalez, Communications Director for Content Management and Creatives of Globe, to join Mr. Miliado and Mr. John Arcilla. Ms. Gonzalez will present to John the Globe Certificate for his professional excellence in the field of arts and entertainment and for using his influence to help create a Globe of good for 5 years and more to come. Thank you, Ms. Monday. Joining Mr. Chris Miliado to formally present the Volpi Cup from the 78th Venice International Film Festival for Best Actor to Mr. John Arcilla. May we call on stage the Ambassador to the Philippines of the Italian Republic, His Excellency Marco Clemente.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few words because this is a very important moment for the Philippines and also for me, representative of the country which hosts what it was rightly called before the movie the older international movie festival in the world. Actually, the Venice International Film Festival is only 2 years younger than Oscar. So. But since the very beginning, it lasted 1 week. The Oscar first night was only 1. So we were maybe the second oldest, but definitely one of the most articulate. Let me say a few words about Coppa Volpi. Coppa Volpi doesn't have a sound or a resonance which could be comparable to the Oscar for the best actor or supportive actor. But I'm sure all of you know, because you are movie buffs, like all of us. But in general, public opinion doesn't know that Coppa Volpi is practically another Oscar it's important to know how prestigious this award is for Mr. Arcilla. You know already, because you must have checked on Wikipedia. I did just a few days ago. Can I just mention some of the actors, some of them, who won the Coppa Volpi in the past? I won't mention actresses, only actors. Leslie Howard, Joseph Cotton, Jean Gabin twice, Frederick Marsh, Alec Guinness, James Stewart, Toshiro Mifune, twice, Bart Lancaster, Albert Finney, Gerard Depardieu, Marcello Mastroianni, Jack Lemmon, Liam Neeson, Sean Penn twice, Javier Bardem twice, Ben Affleck, Brad Pitt, Colin Firth, Adam Driver, Willem Dafoe, and John Arcilla. So, Mr. Arcilla, I'm privileged to represent the International Film Festival of Venice with what you deserve so much. You didn't get in my country, so I cannot say that I came here from Rome to do that, but I'm glad that I can interpret the feeling of all our friends tonight to say, well done, bravissimo, and please, I present to you the Coppa Volpe.
May we call on stage Mr. Ernest Escaler, Executive Producer of On the Job, The Missing Eight, and President of Reality MM Studios, Mr. Dondon Monteverde, Communications Director for Content Management and Creatives of Globe, Ms. Monday Gonzalez, and Director Erik Matti. Please join His Excellency Marco Clemente, Mr. Chris B. Miliado, and Mr. John Arcilla for a photo opportunity. Thank you very much, His Excellency Marco Clemente, Mr. Chris Miliado, Mr. Ernest Escaler, Mr. Erik Matti, Mr. Dondon Monteverde, and Ms. Monday Gonzalez. Mr. John Arcilla will now deliver his message.
Wow. This is rather an impromptu thing because I never expected that this is going to be this big. I thought it's just going to be a simple handover. Now the biggest question is, we saw the film. What are we going to do now? When I was a young boy, I've been watching films about corruption and crimes, and now that I'm older, it's still happening around me, even to the nearest person I know. So what's happening to us? What's happening to us? This used to be my playground for several years. From 1991 to 1997, I've been part of the Actors Company of the Cultural Center of the Philippines through Tanghalang Filipino, the in-house theater of CCP. I played around here, from different theaters to Tanghalang Batute, Little Theater, Aurelia Tolentino. I've been playing different roles, different characters. I used to sing here with Ryan Keviab's musicals. And after 1987, I was caught by the web of the mainstreams. But still, everything I've been watching on films are still happening around. Anyway, as an actor, I always believe that acting is a noble profession. It is a noble thing to do. When we create characters, it is like, or it is actually a study of human behavior. When you study character as an actor, it is a study of human psychology. When we study the era, the milieu of a certain story, who and when it was written, and where the story took place, it is for me comparable to social science, a study of social science. That's why for me, acting is a noble profession. Performances touch lives, broken hearts. Performances can reach out to lost souls, can encourage decisions to spectators, to a group of people, maybe to a community. That's how powerful our work is. Or I think that's how powerful my work is. That's why I keep on doing what I do as an actor. But also I believe that acting, performances or films should also entertain people, because, I mean, entertainment somehow soothes painful hearts. Sabi nga nila, laughter is the best medicine. So while we are trying to impart knowledge or to invite people to do something or to liberate their minds, we are also entertaining them through films. I also believe that. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank Dondon Monteverde and Erik Matti. There will be no OTJ2, The Missing 8, if not for these two great guys, because they're not just filmmakers, but they have visions for the Philippine film industry. Let's give them a big hand. And of course, I would like to commend and congratulate the artistic team, the production team, especially Stacy Bascon. And it may sound cliche, it may seem, but I would like to thank the crew, because they sticked around. Imagine we mounted the film for 3 years, and they stayed together with the vision of Erik Matti. And of course, the wonderful, wonderful actors I worked with. Their performances inspired me to do my part, to create the scenes with them according to the requirements and intentions that we need to create within a scene and within the whole story. Tito Dante Rivero, Leo Martinez, Boyet De Leon. There are 3 De Leons here, Isabel De Leon, and Lotlot De Leon, of course, Andrea Brillantes, and Dennis Trillo. May Paner, is May Paner here? May Paner and I, we've been together for, I was 20 years old then in PETA, if I can remember, but they're part of the core group of the PETA MTTL. I was just part of the community-based theater. And of course, Solimon Cruz. So I also would like to dedicate this award, of course, to my family who actually left us within this pandemic, my father, Dominador Gil Arcelia, and Emmanuel Arcelia, whose diabetes was aggravated by COVID-19, and my youngest sister, Teresa Arcelia, whose heart ailment recurred without our knowledge, also due to COVID-19. I would like the whole world, to hear their names because they have the biggest part in my journey as an actor. I was able to express my art and my life interpretation because I grew up with them. And of course, to reality films, CCP, thank you so much. Reality Entertainment, and to Globe Studios, thank you so much. This Volpi Cup is for everyone, for every Filipino. This is not just for me. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Ito ay para sa atin at sana makagawa pa tayo ng mas maraming makabuluhang pelikula na kikilala sa ating bansa at sa ating mga mamamayan na tayo ay walang pinag-iba sa kanila. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay.
Our moderator for tonight has been a journalist for 35 years and is regarded for her insightful coverage of national issues. Prior to the abrupt closure of ABS-CBN's terrestrial TV operations, she was executive editor of ANCX, the lifestyle arm of ANC, the ABS-CBN News Channel, a 24-hour cable news channel of ABS-CBN Corporation. She has anchored several news programs and hosted various current affairs shows in ABS-CBN in the last 3 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Ces Drilon.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the generous introduction. I'm just basking in the reflected glory of the great pillars before me. So let's get down to business because the IATF rules say that we can't go more than 30 minutes since the film was rather long. Okay, so let me introduce to you our panel members. Of course, to the far end, the person who needs no introduction, Director Erik Matti. Beside me, the executive producer of On the Job, The Missing 8, and president of Reality Studios, Mr. Dondon Monteverde. And of course, the brilliant Mr. John Arcilla, who is what? Alongside Gerard Depardieu, Brad Pitt lang naman. Sino pa ba yung mga Sean Penn? Oh yes, let's not forget him. Yes, twice, huh? Oh, so you have a record to beat. You're up to the challenge. We have Lotlot De Leon. Is she joining us?
Yes.
Hi, Lotlot. She, of course, played the role of a journalist, colleague of John in the newspaper in La Paz town. Hi, Lotlot. Galing, galing mo.
Good evening.
Isa kang 1/4.
Of course, for John Arcilla, this is just like a homecoming of sorts because this was your home for what, almost
20 years.
20 years. So how did winning the Volpi Cup change your life?
It did not.
It did not?
Yeah, because it is just like an affirmation that I think recognitions are just affirmations that we are on the right track and what we're trying to achieve is actually happening. So, lumaki ba ulo ko? Hindi. Yumabang ba ako? Hindi. I mean, in the very first place is I would be more happier at magyayabang kung ang bansa natin ay nakalampas na sa mga ganitong krisis na nararanasan natin ngayon.
You issued a challenge in your speech earlier.
Come again.
You issued a challenge to all of us.
Yeah.
What will we do? You saw the film? What will we do?
Now, yes.
So what do you want us to do?
I mean, I'm asking everyone because, I mean, one person cannot just do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, so I don't know.
Tell everybody to watch HBO, go to watch the film on HBO Go. That's one thing that I suppose we should do, because especially we are about to elect our leaders in the country, and this film should awaken their eyes, the people,
or
open their eyes. But in terms of offers, I'm sure they're like flooding now, flooding your desk, your
Not like a tidal
email.
wave, but there's a lot. There are a lot. There are a lot, yeah.
Very challenging ones.
Some of them, yes. And good contracts, yes.
Great.
Yes.
So that has changed your life? Or they would have come anyway without your winning?
Before the Volpi Cup, these things are actually slowly coming.
Mhm.
And then after the Volpi Cup, a lot of, yes,
Oh yeah, please join in. Let's not make it too formal na ikaw lang magsalita, then Eric. Yeah, okay. So, but how did you study the role of the journalist? What prepared you for that role? Did you observe any journalists? So how did you prepare?
We grew up watching anchors in television and listening to radio, especially those who are actually 50 years old here and up. I mean, you know, we used to listen to radios. And whether we liked or not, we have some favorites. Somehow, I have a lot of characters in my mind, but I have to make Sisoy a unique character, different from all of them. I tried to get some small nuances from my favorite anchors, but slowly those characteristics of each characters slowly diminish while I'm actually creating Sisoy. And I was a mass communication graduate. I had a radio production. I had another major of mine is TV production. So before I became so busy with the mainstream, I have already also experienced doing it in radio.
So it was something of second nature to you in a way.
Yes, and one thing, usually radio announcers, they play with their voice.
Yes.
They're sometimes parang, they're so vanitoso with their voice, no? Parang yun yung pang-akit mo sa audience. And somehow siguro isa yun sa medyo mahilig akong gawin kasi because I used to do musicals and I really love singing too.
Yeah, you had the chance to show off your singing skills. Bigay na bigay. Direct.
Thank you, Eric.
Let me go to Direct Erik Matti here. I hope you will be as candid as you are in your Instagram account.
I'll try.
Was the pandemic a big hindrance? I mean, it took, almost 4 years, no, to finish this film?
Well, we had, in the tail end of shooting, we had the last remaining 4 days. And the toughest part is, we've finished the rest of the film except for the last 4 days. The toughest part was, those 4 days was the massacre of Christopher De Leon's car and their co-employees. And then the finale, which is where John hits the car and the shootout happens. So when the pandemic loosened up around July, August, that's around that time, we tried to shoot it. We went to Cavite. And good thing, the last remaining shoots were all exteriors.
Oh.
So it was open. There were no vaccines yet that time.
So there were just 4 crucial shots that you had to finish.
4 major scenes, yeah, that we had to finish. Which is, in the height of pandemic, we have that long road sequence with the guys who's gonna be killed. So there's Christopher there, inside a car.
Yes.
So we had to be really careful. There's also one scene, the chase scene.
And with a child
Yeah.
cut that with a,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, you were saying before I interrupted you.
No,
That scene.
with John also.
Yes.
John and the children of John. So they were all, we shot it for 2 days, the inside of the car, and even Vandolph, and so it's hard when it's contained inside the car.
You had to be very careful and very quick, I suppose.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do this film? Of course, it's a sequel to, when was that? What year was that? When the first film of...
2012. It took a while for the inspiration to come in. When Dondon and Globe decided that we need to continue doing On the Job, we had to find beyond the first one. We don't want to redo the first one, like a continuation of people coming out of prison, killing. We had to find an inspiration by which to continue the second one. And there were 4 topics that we were choosing from. So one is the gambling sector of the country. The other is journalism. And then we have medical malfeasance. And what's the last one?
Journalism, no?
No, there's another one. Anyway, so eventually, it was during the Trump, the winning of Trump, where Cambridge Analytica, the news came out on how they were tested in the Philippines prior to using it on Trump for the Duterte winning. That put us on
a high alert.
Yeah, high alert. and so we started looking into journalism in general, on how it could be manipulated, on how journalists could also be compromised. Eventually we decided, I think this is the way to go. But it took a long time because the shortcut we made really was to talk to, for example, Lotlot about certain characters that they could look at, because we're not journalists, so we're just mostly basing it from how people talk and how people their convictions. And some of our guests here earlier were all the research people that we talked to. Was no longer here. Journalists. Ed Lingao was here. The Probe guys, the Probe from Probe Production, we talked to them. Rafi Lerma, I think. I don't know if he's still around, but I hope he drinks later. So that's it. Yeah.
So in the hope of changing society, what is that a motivation that you will, be able to wake people up or make them see an issue, or is it because the topic is just so appealing to you?
I think Dondon could also attest to it later. We do movies we do entertaining movies. I mean, we start with, we don't mean to do like serious art house stuff. We do entertaining movies, but we want entertaining movies that matter, that has insights.
That jolt you.
Yeah, but what we don't want to do are advocacy films. We don't want to do, it would have been easy for this film to be an advocacy film, because I would just have said what I wanted to say. But instead, we wanted some balance to it. So you have a really straight arrow of a journalist that looking at you on some parts, you could also be the irritating straight arrow journalist, even if she has so much integrity, right? And then you have someone whom you can judge in the beginning to be, ito talaga, kwan talaga to, how talaga tong, itong reporter na to. But then you see them change, no? And I know that it could only happen in movies, but that's what movies are for, right? We could talk about things and we could show the change in just 2 hours, which we couldn't possibly do in society easily, di ba? Here, you see Sisoy in the first hour and a half being this arrogant, fame whore, and then, right? And then midway, he becomes this serious. I was talking to Ces earlier. Look at the irony of Christopher De Leon and Sisoy. What we all felt was the straight guy, the nicest guy in the room, eventually became the compromised one.
Yeah.
And here you have him, whom we judge, wala na, hopeless na to. Hopeless na yung journalist na to, itong Sisoy na to, kasi binabayaran siya ng mayor. But then he turns out to be so much better than his colleague who was judging him, no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who looks more respectable than him.
Tama.
Really going to the edge, no? Yeah. Risking your life.
Yeah.
What? You were so brilliant in the film. Amazing. How do you do it? What's the preparation that's involved there?
You know, I can speak for him.
Oh, sige, please.
Para hindi kwan.
Para hindi mo kang
para hindi siya nagbubuhat ng bangko. I can speak for John. This is a tough material to work on because just imagine the party scene, the whole monologue, that was probably 2-3 pages long. That whole speech with Pedring, that I grabbed the microphone, etc., etc. What you want from your actor is someone who, I just put him on stage, and then when we do rehearsals, I always ask the actors to do cold readings. I don't want them to act. So they go there, they go to their movement, Pedring, okay, ready? Because if they have questions, then they'll ask me. But I don't know what he was gonna do. And yeah,
you didn't tell him what he was gonna do.
Yeah, and then he did the whole thing. He probably has been planning
What are you there for?
Huh?
I mean, if you leave him to do it,
yeah,
you're just there to be the guy.
I think it comes with preparation. Of course, we've had readings prior to that. We've had discussions about what this scene is about. But actually, with monologues like that, you can tell actors like
at this point,
at this point, you know what I hate the most with direction is beats. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat. You know, when you're dealing with a really good actor, you could find the beats will come out because they're savoring the scene and they're making it as real as they could. So that's one. He comes in prepared, and he surprises you. Like one of my favorite scenes of his is when he comes into to La Paz before Christopher fights with him, and then he has this panache of, "What's up, people of La Paz?" Those are all John Arcillas. I mean, the only instruction he got from me was, "Come in with a bang." I said, it's not in the script. But I just said, "Come in with a bang," oblivious that the whole office is like really scared because it's going to close down.
Yeah.
And he comes in there, "What's up, people of La Paz?" Magaling.
Now let's go to Lotlot.
Just to add a little, I think acting is so magical that you can only see the character from the outside, but we can actually see that character from the inside. The description of Sisoy is a corrupt radio journalist. Did I treat Sisoy as a corrupt radio announcer? No. Sisoy will not just wake up one morning and say, "I'm going to be a corrupt." He has his life. He has to live. He is actually the protagonist in his story as a person, as a character, as an actor, even in your own life. You are not the villain. You are not the corrupt. you are fighting for something. And then suddenly, boom, you saw that, you discover that you are not actually fighting for something, but you're actually fighting for someone. And then you will now realize, and then there's the crisis for the character to decide, or we call it the crux, no? That's the most colorful part of an actor when he has to decide. That is really very colorful. Whether to go with the other way or his way. So I think that is the magic of acting.
Amazing. They're the smartest people now in the world, I think. It takes so much intelligence. Let's go to Lotlot. How was it for you to portray an embattled journalist?
As mentioned by Direk Eric, when we first met and when he told me about my character, he said, "You watch the news, right? Research this person." If I may mention.
Shara Zambrano.
Yes.
Shara Zambrano. So I started.
A good friend and a really good journalist.
Yes. Yeah. And since I also love watching the news, and I grew up watching the news, I'm kind of, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of some anchors as well, like John. And but it's different when you see journalists on the ground. When you see them standing there sa ulan, may mga nagbabarilan, they're fighting, they're in the middle of war or whatever, but they're there because they want the story to be told. They want the truth to be told. So this is what I put in Weng, more or less. Because she's very stubborn. She's kind of self-righteous in a way, which helped naman because she was able to push and guilt-trip Sisoy into, realizing at least na, let's do something about what's happening because it's all wrong. So, so...
Did you ever get to meet with Shara Zambrano, or you just watched her coverages?
I watched her.
She was chased by the Chinese Coast Guard.
Yes. I watched her with a lot of videos and some other journalists also as well. But we were able to chat on, I think, Direk Eric's Instagram, and we said hello to each other there. But I would really love to meet her one of these days in person.
And does she know that she was somehow
a part?
The inspiration or somebody you observed?
Yes, I think it was told to her. Direk Eric mentioned to her, I think, yeah.
Wow.
But of course, she was so humble and said, "Ganyan ba ako?"
What can you say about the situation of journalists at present who are, continuing to do their work, being exposed to so much risks, especially in the heat of a political campaign?
Ms. Ces, I have so much respect for all journalists and reporters whose only intention is to tell the truth, regardless of what they have ahead of them. For their principles and their strength and the courage, hindi po mababayaran yun. So, Weng's character is for all the journalists and writers and reporters out there.
I just have one question. Matagal ko nang gustong tanungin to eh. I was a graduate of mass communication, and we usually use this sensationalism as part of our job, like putting the headlines. We have to sensationalize the headline so that we can get the attention of the viewers or the audience. I'm just wondering if those headlines can actually affect the kind of people that we have now, that they're becoming more emotional and not thinkers. Because majority of the people in a society are average to below average, and they don't really think. They just look at the headlines. So meron akong mga instances na nakakapanood sometimes. Ang laki ng headline, and then if you're going to think about it, magagalit ka dun sa subject. Pag pinanood mo yung clips, wala naman siyang sinabing ganun. So you know what, parang sabi ko, do we still self-regulate as journalists or as networks? I mean, do we still talk about the effect of sensationalism to our people? Because I think that also, that really affects the kind of massa that we have now. And who will regulate it?
Or clickbait, as they call it now, because online.
Yes, and but on the flip side also of what John is saying, I think journalism also suffered a lot the past few years because of social media. I think their jobs have been endangered by
bullying on social media.
And
harassment.
Ngayon parang everything is opinion, no? So parang of course partly CNN din medyo very opinionated, di ba? But in general, parang it's hard to be a journalist nowadays because of all these trolls that can just tell you it's not true, fake, right? So it's really hard for your position.
It's a different battle that the journalists are facing nowadays. Now let's go to Dondon. Your choice of issues to take up are rather bold, huh? I mean, dangerous, really, yeah. So what are the challenges that you faced in your choice of subject matter?
Well, for me, Eric and I are always discussing naman our next projects or whatever we're gonna do next. No? So, syempre, we always want to put something in it. Just not a good narrative, but there's a lot of lessons and insights that's happening around us. No? So I think we can actually clearly say or communicate to our audience what we want them to hear out from what's really happening. So for every movie naman that we do, syempre the challenges are that. No? So we just have to make sure that whatever film we do is very enjoyable for the audience. At the same time, we put in something that's happening out there so that we will be aware.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many relevant topics, but you can avoid the, very controversial, sensitive, that will challenge the powers that be.
I have a very
courageous.
I have a very controversial partner here, director, as you know. No? So, bago pa, even before the movie comes out, I think people would already know the message that he wants to say. So, but then I think, with Erik talaga, that's just the way he puts it together. Hindi siya pilit eh. It's not something that's very forceful that you see. It's something that really comes in with the story.
It's not preachy.
Yeah, it can't be. Yeah, with Erik, yes.
You were about to say something, Erik.
No, I think one of the challenges of Dondon and us in producing movies like this is really it was a tough journey for us. We started on the job one. Nilako namin yun for 4 years. No one wanted it. Where's the love story? Where's the best friend na kailangan kwentuhan ng, alam mo yun, are we ready for an action movie? This is too dark. No? It was able to be produced after 4 years, and akala namin, okay, yes, we can keep on doing our kind of films. No? It took this one
for another 4 years.
For another one, after 8 years, for us to finally say that, okay, some people really love the kind of stories we want to tell. Right? Parang yung iba, incrementals lang eh. We did John Lloyd. Oh, it's so dark. Grabe yung ginawa nyo kay John Lloyd. From Basya and sino nga siya?
Popoy, Matinee
from Popoy, pinaghapang mo sa kuweba, Mati. Sobra naman yun. O, kinalbo mo pa. Di ba? Sobra ka naman kayo.
But, yeah, but to add to that, though, yeah, honestly, putting up these kinds of movies, the ones that we do, it's hard to put the financing together.
So that's the major challenge.
Sobrang major challenge because it's not the kind of movie that would really churn out, the box office expectations of a lot of producers. But then, syempre, for me and Eric, we're more challenged with this, I mean, when we did On the Job 1, it went out to Cannes, a lot of people, especially a lot of different countries bought it and actually exhibited it in their countries. So we saw what type of films that we think would really travel and actually showcase, the Filipino creativity and the talents that we can bring out there. So we used On the Job 1 to be a vehicle. Diba? From there, we were on the map and we were able to do, On the Job 2 and the others that we do.
I'm itching. The follow-up question is, it takes international success first for Filipinos to take you seriously? Is that something?
For us,
or Filipino audiences to pay attention?
I think it takes international competitions and success to get financing for your film.
Okay.
No.
Spoken like a
No,
producer.
but I want to thank you, Globe, for believing in us in this one. And then, we want to do more of these kinds of film, that's so that we can...
Just as an addition to Dondon, I mean, I think I failed to mention it in my speech, opening speech. For a movie like this, for a series like this that has been bought by HBO, imagine that there's already a season 2 that they're going for 2023. And
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be my next
Season
question.
2.
Inunahan mo ko.
Ha? Oo.
Ngayon ko lang nalaman yun. What? You don't know? You never told John Arcilla? How do you
Wala
know
pa.
that
This
his
is the
schedule will...
announcement.
How do you know that...
This is the day of the announcement. And then...
Mas yung playing si Soy?
And by Feb 24, this coming Feb 24, this is showing in HBO Go, right? Right now, right? Feb 24, this will be the first HBO Asia originals that will launch in HBO Max in Europe and in North America.
Wonderful.
So-
Congratulations.
So
No,
tell
no.
everyone of the Filipinos to go, and alam naman natin, lahat naman tayo, maraming OFW relatives. No?
We have families all over the globe.
Wonderful. So when will John Arcilla start filming?
We might be shooting April.
Oh!
Not this year. Not this year. Not this year.
Next
Sorry.
year.
April next year. Not this year.
Ngayon na tayo nagplano.
Sean Penn,
don't panic.
watch out.
Next
Kaya
year.
nga eh.
Sabi ko,
Wala akong kabuang-buwang.
tama, direct, patapos na yung lock-in ko.
Ikaw naman, in-excite mo kami masyado.
April next year.
Woo! So, Dondon, what are the challenges for that, for the next season?
Of course, finding the next topic to put out there, with the same characters that we're thinking of. No? But then, yeah, again, we're really happy naman of what happened to On the Job, and I think right now, at least we were able to put the Philippines in the map with John Arcilla.
Yeah.
Right now, being world-class.
Naka
Yes. And I think right now, we're positioned to actually showcase Filipino talent abroad. And I know this hopefully can be an awakening to our peers in the business that, we can do it. We can really...
It can be done.
Yeah, we can cross borders and actually showcase our talents out there.
And we can dream about bigger projects. Yeah. I think that's what we've been trying. We've been missing that all these years. I mean, our films, we're hoping na, di ba, nagpandemya, di ba, just like in war, people are braver and more encouraged, bolder, to invest. Sa Pilipinas, baliktad. Di ba? Our films got smaller and smaller, the budgets are smaller,
So
Di ba?
hopefully.
It's all stuck in one room. I just hope that we now have like a chance out there, because we're not just limited to the country. All the big ones are coming in. So everyone, I hope you all should be hopeful.
One last question for Dondon. Before I turn, I forgot completely that there will be 2 questions from the audience, and you can use the QR code, I'm so sorry, on the microphone so that we can read your questions. Or you can just approach the microphones there on the floor. Okay, what advice would you give to filmmakers so that they can, somehow emulate the success that you've gotten?
Follow your passion, number one. Continue dreaming. It's not impossible to actually, get your films out there and then actually show what you can do. No? For me and Eric, it's been a journey. It's not a short journey. It's been a long journey, honestly. So, with On the Job, we were lucky enough to find a partner in Globe to actually believe in our vision. And it was, hard really to put the financing together. But again, for a film like this, honestly, it's like, we spent like almost $2 million just producing this. It's unheard of. But you can see, when you do a quality film, it's something that you'll be proud of, when you see it competing with other films out there. So I think
But I think the other advice I could give filmmakers, artists most especially, is to find a Dondon who believes in them. Because no matter how much you pitch to other people, they picture things differently. So
you have to be true to the vision.
You need to develop a trust with a producer that when you say, no, it's going to happen in a bridge. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I know, I understand. You get what I mean?
Yeah, so this is actually a wake-up call for the industry that we can do it. No? So I think for our peers talaga, you know what to do, di ba? Just make sure that you put something that you think that's internationally worthy. Don't make shortcuts. Don't make shortcuts. I believe in a lot of talents here in the Philippines, naman. So I think there will be more of these kinds of film that will come out, in the coming future, and it all starts here. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, we have a question from the floor. Oh no. I'm sorry. Any questions? I believe we have members of the media present. All right. Well, parting shots from each one. Let me start with Lotlot and down the panel up to Dondon.
Ms. Cess, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank, of course, Sir Dondon, Reality, and Direk Eric. I was once a regal baby. Now I'm a reality baby. From Mother Lily to Sir Dondon.
Amazing.
So,
witty,
napaka-witty. No, but in all honesty, maraming salamat for making me part of On the Job 2. I was already a fan of the first franchise, and I'm just so grateful to be part of the second one, and more, hopefully, God willing. So, maraming salamat po.
Looking forward to how your character will develop in the next season. Eric.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for staying this long. I really hope you always go out and watch Filipino content wherever that is. And stay tuned for a lot more coming your way in the next few years. It has gone really exciting for the industry because after the pandemic, everyone just wants to go back and give the audience really great stories. So stay tuned.
Don't forget to announce your Baguio screening.
So after this, On the Job will be going to, there's 3 more festivals abroad that it's going to. There's Fribourg in Switzerland. We're going back to Italy again for Udine. And then Macau is showing it. Just like in the MoMA setup, Macau will be showing it side by side with 9 other films, which is the best from Asia. And then this end of March, On the Job will be the closing film for Montañosa Festival in Baguio. I will be there as head jury for the competition, and I will eat at Chaya, and I will have a lot of fun.
John?
Well, ako siguro yung sinasabi ko na challenge na kasi it's really frustrating that you just appreciate these kinds of films. Pero somehow sana, if we can get some lessons, sana ma-channel din natin sa real life. If we need to, sana ma-appreciate siya ng mas maraming tao para makatulong din siya sa pag-decide ng masa. Kung halimbawa, pipili ka ng isang tao para asahan mo na maglingkod sa iyo. No? So somehow, baka kasi ang mangyari lang is proliferate yung Philippine film because we're using the kind of society that we have, showing it to the whole world, and yet our country will still stay the same. It's so sad. Ganun na mangyayari. So it's really a challenge for us kung manunood din lang tayo ng mga ganito. This is not an advocate film, of course. I believe so. Sabi ko, doon kami nagkakaisa nila Dondon, nila ano eh. Na you also have to entertain people. After all, this is movie. This is a movie. This is a film. But somehow, may nakukuha rin tayo. We impart knowledge. I mean, we liberate some minds. So, let's do something about it.
Thank you, Seesoy.
Sure, first of all, I want to thank CCP and Mr. Ernest Escalar for putting this together. Thank you also for our diplomatic guests that attended this evening. I think one message talaga I just want to share. No? I think it's, right now we're in a crucial point that we think that cinema is dead. I hope our audience will continue to support Filipino films. And we need all this support so that we can, come back from this pandemic and come back strong. And please support, all Filipino content on your favorite streaming platforms. We need that so that we can, do more content so we can showcase more talents abroad. That's it.
There's one question I didn't ask you. What did Mother Lily say?
Well, Mother is always happy naman on what I do. Hindi naman, she's not really someone who's very hands-on. So.
But with the success of this
with the success of the films that we do, I mean, we have lunch every Sunday, and Erik joins us. So I think we're just happy that she's here to support us while doing all the stuff that we want to do.
Well, we thank the panel before us. Thank you so much. A big hand of applause for their very candid answers. Kulang lang ng anghang kay Erik Matti. Abangan na lang sa Instagram niya. Thank you so much for a very rich and enlightening discussion. So we, once again, Dondon Monteverde, Director Erik Matti, Lotlot De Leon, and of course, John Arcilla. And thank you also to all of you who are physically here at CCP and to those who joined us via the CCP social media platforms. Thank you very much as well. Have a good evening, everybody, and mabuhay ang Pilipino.
John Arcilla.
John Arcilla.